Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. I'm your host, as always, Kendrick Dix here. Glad you can join us here on the Pro Wrestling Show. We do the best of the Pro Wrestling Show throughout the years. The top 10 most shocking events that happened this year in professional wrestling. We're talking about in WWE, AEW, and beyond. But first thing first, join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on Connect. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe, Mr. King. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing. Thank you all for watching this edition of Pro Wrestling Show. Man, we're in the holiday season with the spirit. We know that Raw, SmackDown will be taking a break and having the best of. So we decided that we're going to do the same and do the best of here. Most of the time you see me on the Pro Wrestling Show, I'm showing the visuals in the video, in the pictures and stuff. You never don't see me like you did earlier, the early years in the Pro Wrestling Show. Now I decided to, hey, let's kind of do this a little bit different and kind of maybe you see me on Take or Now or Viral or anything else. But I'm here back on the Pro Wrestling Show for this special edition. Man, we want to thank you all for watching the Pro Wrestling Show for real. Pro Wrestling Show has increased, and it has increased definitely. And we thank you for watching. We thank you for watching throughout the years, throughout this year, throughout the months. When we do Pro Wrestling Show specials, we extended it and decided that, hey, we're getting more viewership. Let's go ahead and extend it and give you more specials. And that's what we're going to do here coming up in 2024. We're going to give you more specials. We're going to give you more stuff, review shows. We're going to give you more predicted outcomes. Throughout every predicted outcome, we're going to have a review. So I think the review is more like an add-on to the specials now. When we had predicted outcome, then the ring reports and stuff. Now we're going to extend it to reviews. So we're going to have the review either the day of or the day before, next day. So we thank you for watching. All right, we get things started with AEW land. This controversial figure, Don Callis, has been making waves in All Elite Wrestling throughout. He came back with the Don Callis family. He was teaming with Ken Omega, and then he started to trying to establish himself like Bobby Heenan with his own family. He did that. He done so. But Don Callis stepped out the shallow and carve his own path for him by betraying Ken Omega and Chris Jericho. This was kind of unlike Don Callis because he's been a champion of both men throughout the early in their careers. Now he decided that he found a new leaf and he doesn't want to be associated with them. He wants to create his own roster, including with members like Powerhouse Hobbs, Kyle Fletcher. The list goes on and on with Don Callis, Will Ospreay. So it goes on. Sammy Guevara, I don't know what's going on with Sammy Guevara, but Don Callis is expanding his roster. And who hopes to see what Don Callis may be capable of coming up next year in 2024? Speaking of number 9 was a villainous group that started from the Radar Superstar Edge. Edge started the Judgment Day, and the Judgment Day has grown and blossomed with Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, and Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio leading the way. We thought there was an eventual leader, but the Judgment Day saying they're equals until later on this year, Damian Priest claims that he's the leader of the Judgment Day. I did look up and see that Damian Priest was a founding member, so he is thus being connected to Edge, could be the de facto leader of the Judgment Day. But everyone believes that Rhea Ripley is the spiritual leader of the Judgment Day since she has the Women's World Championship. The Judgment Day has been dominant throughout 2023 in WWE, especially on the Raw brand. The Judgment Day won the Tag Team Championships on numerous occasions over Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. Even Rhea Ripley won the Women's World Championship from Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania to carve off her niche by thus earlier this year winning the Royal Rumble. Now she's heading the Royal Rumble as the champion. Now the Judgment Day has grown with the new members of JD Madonna, who was an associate. Now he's a member. He had to prove himself to get into the membership, and JD Madonna has done so. So we'll see what's looking up for the Judgment Day. Even Damian Priest won the Money in the Bank, so solidifying that he could cash in to become a world champion at any given moment throughout the remaining year. He has until July to carve out what he wants to do. So we'll see what Damian Priest is going to do. Number 8, the rise of LA Knight. LA Knight is that. LA Knight rise started at Royal Rumble. LA Knight was feuding with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt and LA Knight had this pitch black match at the Royal Rumble where Bray won. LA Knight even went on to continue his momentum, gaining momentum and raising up popularity. LA Knight now is a bona fide star, getting endorsements from John Cena, fighting and feuding with Roman Reigns for the World Championship at Crown Jewel. He didn't win, but Damian Priest has a moment in history to say what he wanted to say at least. I believe LA Knight rise is coming. It's coming in one way or another. We just have to wait and see how this is going to be coming forward. All right. We'll be back with more of the Pro Wrestling Show presents the best of the top 10 countdown of what happened this year. Don't go anywhere. This is the Pro Wrestling Show. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Show presents the best of countdown. I'm your host as always, Kendrick Dix here. Glad you can join us here on this best of countdown top 10 edition. Joined in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on Connect. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe is caring. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing. All right, we're back on the countdown right now with number 7. Number 7 is a legendary diva who was once a 7-time women's champion, and she wanted to return back to show that she still believes age is not a number. And that was Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus returned back to help assist Becky Lynch and Lita winning the Women's Tag Team Championships. Now Trish Stratus embroiled in a feud. She got jealous and had resentment over Becky Lynch's popularity and success, thinking that she was going to be a has-been and being left over. Well, Trish proved everyone wrong by turning against Becky and had a match against Becky at Crown Jewel, winning the match and aligning herself with Zoe Starks. Well, that alignment came into fruition throughout when Becky was getting beat up by Trish and Zoe throughout Raw throughout the summer. Well, fast forward to Payback, where many believe that Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch had the best women's cage match in all, and believe the best match in WWE. That steel cage match still resonates with people all over the world. And Trish Stratus showed that age ain't nothing but a number. She's almost 50 years old, and she still looks the same. It shows like a retro back to 2003 when I remember Trish Stratus was the face of the women's division on Raw. And she carried that division throughout. Look at it like this. Trish was a eye candy type girl. Like she was a model, a fitness model. She went on to become a good superior wrestler and went on to become a multi-time women's champion. Trish Stratus now WWE Hall of Famer. And she proves that she still has a lot of gas in the tank. So looking forward to seeing Trish Stratus whenever we see her in the airwaves back again. Coming up, number 6 from AEW, another legendary wrestler, Sting. The icon Sting announced that he will be retiring in 2024. Sting announced it on AEW Dynamite. Sting has competed in every federation you can think of, from NWA to Mid-South, to WWE, to WCW, to even TNA. Sting getting back into the saddle. Sting trying to now retire. And many people believe who Sting's final opponent is going to be. I believe Sting's final opponent is going to be Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett and Sting has a brief history, a long history in Impact in TNA. So it brings it back full circle for Sting. When Sting will go against Jeff Jarrett, I believe, at Revolution in March. That will end the final curtain call for Sting. And I think Sting played a pivotal role in a lot. Many people thought Sting's final match in WWE was unjust, and now Sting will finally write his own chapter in AEW. So we'll see that going down. Speaking of that, number 5 was John Cena. John Cena returns to WWE. John Cena returned to WWE after the writers had Hollywood was on strike. The actors and the writers. John Cena couldn't find no work. Or the work was postponed because the writers in the big corporations couldn't reach an agreement. John Cena made his return back to WWE during the fall, beginning of the fall, and he had feuds with a lot of folks. The Miz, Solo Sikoa. He put Solo Sikoa over. So Solo being a dangerous threat. So it's a lot for John Cena coming back. Now the Hollywood strike is over. Everybody's ready to work, and John Cena did his job by doing what he wanted to do and put business over. So John Cena, commendable for him on what he had to do. All right, don't go anywhere. We have more of the Pro Wrestling Show presents the Top 10 Countdown, and we have honorable mentions that we couldn't find on the list that we was trying to put on the list, and this list was real heavy. We'll get to it in a minute. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Show presents the Top 10 Countdown, the end of the year for everything pro wrestling. I'm your host as always, Kendra Dix here. Glad you can join us here on the Pro Wrestling Show. Join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe means caring. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing. Like I said, the Pro Wrestling Show, we have a lot on this Top 10 Countdown, but we're going to stop right here and give you the honorable mentions. Here are the honorable mentions. Now, we know that Gunther has been Intercontinental Champion for almost close to 150 days. He beat the Honky Tonk Man's record. So Gunther been Intercontinental Champion for nearly 2 years. He surpassed Honky Tonk Man's record. Gunther's been defending the championship against likes like Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, Miz, you name it, Chad Gable, a lot of people, even Braun Strowman, he been defending, but a lot of folks are waiting to see who's Gunther's next opponent is going to be. Gunther, I have an idea who Gunther's next opponent will be, and this promotion might end Gunther's reign because he was considered the next big thing. And I'll leave it like that. Also, too, speaking of title reigns, MJF, he's been champion for 1 full year in AEW, world champion. He has been defending his championship against the likes of Jay White, you name it. Adam Cole, him and Adam Cole involved in a battle. We know that MJF will be going against Samoa Joe. I think MJF's title reign may be coming to an end because of this going on with Joe and everybody else, and with these psychological mind games with this masked man who knows what's going on. MJF with that, and who knows what's next with him. He's AEW's top star and his homegrown star, so I would want to bet Tony Khan want to keep him as much as he could. Also, too, Becky Lynch wins the NXT Women's Championship. Becky Lynch can mark that check off her list that she has become the NXT Women's Champion in 2023. Becky Lynch has done it all in WWE, winning the Raw title, winning the SmackDown title, Tag Team Champion. She never accomplished being NXT Women's Champion, and she done so by defeating Tiffany Stratton, and Becky Lynch can add that to her resume as she goes. Also, too, Nia Jax, a bunch of returns. Nia Jax returning. We saw a whole bunch of people. We're going to have more coming up later on about returns and what's going on. Nia Jax returning. Dominating, fending off all the women's division on these shows. So, hey, Nia Jax with that. Also, too, WWE making releases. WWE releasing a lot of folks throughout the summer. They released heavy names like Dolph Ziggler, Shelton Benjamin, Madcap Moss, and many others. You got to wonder and Matt Riddle. You got to wonder what would these stars land. If I was a betting man, some of them will make land on Impact. Some of them will make land on AEW. Hopefully, if I had a company, I would kind of rack them up. If I had millions and millions of dollars, like, hey, build my company up and see where I go with that. But you never know how that's going to go, how that's going to react. All right. Also, too, Cody Rhodes did not finish his story. Cody Rhodes did not finish his story at WrestleMania. He won the Royal Rumble. He did announce that this year he was going to enter it again and be a 2-time Royal Rumble winner. The only chance he has to win it again in order to get challenge the champion of his choosing. And he might want to challenge Roman Reigns one more time. So, hey, who knows? Also, to another shocking surprise, Edge debut in AEW. We never did find out that Edge was going to make that jump. But, hey, business is business. Edge decided that WWE wasn't utilizing him the way that he wanted to be utilized. And he decided that he wanted to take his talents to AEW to prove himself. Edge has been feuding with Christian, going forward with Christian, Nick Wayne, and Killswitch, better known as Luchasaurus, on how that's going to go. as well. Um, and also too, TNA Impact Wrestling announced that they're going to be rebranding themselves and revert back to Impact TNA. So TNA Wrestling coming back. It had a lot of steam now. It's kind of dying down. So we'll see how this is going to play out throughout the stuff going forward. Also, too, NXT announced that they're going to be heading to the CW network. WWE doing a lot of negotiations, putting the NXT brand with the CW network. So there's going to be first time over the air broadcasting, as well as SmackDown will return back to the USA Network. We don't know if they're going to be on Fridays or another different day. Who knows what's going on with that? We don't know the rights for Raw. Raw is still on NBC, on USA. Will Raw stay on USA or move over to another network? We're hearing reports that they could go to Ronald Discovery or FX or Amazon somewhere down the line. So we'll see how that's going to go coming forward. So we're going to end there with the honorable mentions. We're going to move back forward to what's going on and return back to what we was talking about in the countdown. Number 4, Bray Wyatt passed away. No one did not see this coming. In August, Bray Wyatt passed away from complications of heart problems. Bray Wyatt was 37 years old. That's like short in time span. I didn't see that coming. We didn't know it was that severe, that serious. Bray Wyatt passed away. Bray Wyatt's last match was at the Royal Rumble. He was scheduled to meet Lashley one-on-one, but Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania, but Bray Wyatt unfortunately in August passed away. We didn't know the health problem was so serious and stuff. Bray's fiance said that they were supposed to get married this year, and now she's kind of heartbroken, and we all were heartbroken. I believe Bray Wyatt's in a better place. He don't have to worry no more. He don't have to stress about nothing on what's going on in this world, and leave it like that. And I believe WWE's gonna do right. They're gonna put Bray Wyatt in the Hall of Fame coming up in 2024 in that Hall of Fame. So Bray Wyatt left a lasting legacy, former WWE champion. He was more close to being like the Jake Roberts of the modern day Jake Roberts of the WWE, I believe, what's going on. So he will be dearly missed. Also, too, the Bloodline, their storyline. Who can forget Roman Reigns kicked off the year by convincing Sami Zayn to turn on Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn didn't want to turn on his best friend Kevin Owens. And Sami Zayn paid the price by getting attacked by the Bloodline. And it kind of echoed it with Roman defeating Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens back to back in January at the Royal Rumble for Kevin Owens, and February Elimination Chamber for Sami Zayn. It led on to WrestleMania where Roman retained, and Roman gained momentum, becoming champion for nearly 3 years and being champion for over 1,000 days. Roman Reigns' streak continues. He's close enough. If he continues on this momentum, he will be close enough next year to have a 4-year title reign as a world champion and being close to Hulk Hogan's record as his legendary record. Hogan had the championship from 1984 to 1988. So Hogan reign could be in jeopardy. You know what I mean? Roman could be inching up. Also, too, Roman had less title defenses. He had 11 title defenses. Roman defended his championship, like I pre-mentioned, against Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Cody Rhodes. Throughout the summer, Roman wanted to be tag team champion with Solo. That didn't work out with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Roman got pinned by the Uso brothers when they had the Civil War. Roman also figured out he was going to challenge Jay. Main event Jay Uso went on to SummerSlam to challenge Roman. That didn't work out for main event Jey Uso. He lost that SummerSlam. He was trying to attempt to become tribal chief and champion. It didn't work out for him. Then Roman went on to meet the popular LA Knight. That didn't work in LA Knight's favor. It kind of stalled LA Knight's momentum. And now Roman Reigns has been dominant. And we've been seeing that Roman could be defending the championship against either AJ Styles, LA Knight, or Randy Orton. We'll see coming up at Royal Rumble. But like I said, this is a triple threat match. It's going to happen somewhere down the road, we'll see the spoilers kind of be coming out. I believe Randy Orton won. So, hey, we'll see coming up at Royal Rumble. Speaking of that, number two was the biggest shocker. CM Punk returned back from AEW this summer to star on Collision. It was a soft bland split between the Dynamite crew and the Collision crew. CM Punk was supposed to lead the Collision crew, and the Dynamite crew was going to be led by the Elite, the Bucks and Ken Omega, to avoid the confusion and confrontation that owner Tony Khan wanted to keep under wraps and stuff. What happened at Brawl In a year ago. CM Punk wanted to work with the Bucks, but the Bucks refused to work with him. Well, CM Punk had his own show, own platform that he was kind of like had creative control. It just didn't work out. But it all came to a head at All In, AEW's biggest pay-per-view in London, when AEW claims they sold out 80,000 seats. Well, that, who knows? But CM Punk was involved in a backstage incident with Jungle Boy Jack Perry about Glass. A lot of people said CM Punk was trying to mentor and tell Jack Perry, like, hey, you kind of want to, kill that off right there. Jack Perry didn't want to listen and got himself in a tussle. Like I said, Jack Perry, we'll see what's going on with him. He got suspended, but CM Punk got fired because owner Tony Khan saying that he felt threatened by his life by CM Punk. Maybe CM Punk said something and Tony Khan didn't respond to it the way he thought. We thought they had that bond, but unfortunately they didn't. CM Punk was let go by the AEW committee, who I didn't know had two lawyers, and one wrestler in particular, Daniel Bryan, was a part of the committee that let CM Punk go. And I think that was a big mistake. I think they could have worked things out, but unfortunately, things happen for a reason. That mistake became somebody else's baton to pass on. CM Punk returned at Survivor Series at the end of the show, and CM Punk embraced himself back in WWE. He hasn't been in WWE in nearly almost 10 years. CM Punk now is scheduled to be in the Royal Rumble the exact same day that he took his ball and went home in WWE 2014. And now 10 years later, CM Punk could be in the main event at WrestleMania fighting for the championship. You know, they had a confrontation with Seth Rollins, and that confrontation will be sparking on throughout 2024. I can tell you that right now. But CM Punk made some headlines, gained more views, more social followings. There was a social moment in WWE history that WWE claims in modern history, and I believe that so far. So CM Punk back with a vengeance, back with WWE. He started in AEW, and now CM Punk is back in WWE. Well, the world we live in, hell has froze over indeed. And speaking of hell has froze over, the number one moment, you couldn't believe it. I never thought it was going to be impossible. The thought of it not being impossible for it to happen, but it did happen. Endeavor buys WWE. What? We never thought that longtime owner Vince McMahon would never give the reins to another entity, another organization. You thought that Vince was going to pry his hands. He was going to take it out his cold, pride, dead hands. He was never going to sell it. You thought Vince was going to give it to his family and let them be in control. It shows that Vince McMahon didn't have no confidence in his family or running his own company. Vince McMahon decided to, hey, you know what? I'm going to give it to Endeavor. Vince McMahon was kicked out of the board. Stephanie McMahon was chairman. And then earlier this year, she decided she wanted to resign from the company. With all this going on, Stephanie resigned, and now Vince is back in the helm. Vince decided that he's going to have a strategic approach to sell the company and get the company out because he was the majority shareholder. And now Vince McMahon back in the saddle as the chairman after he's kicked his daughter out and stuff. Vince McMahon found out after WrestleMania or during WrestleMania, he decides to sell WWE to Endeavor. Vince McMahon sells WWE to Endeavor, and Endeavor now controls WWE along with UFC. They merged the two companies as one, TKO Enterprises, and now WWE is under TKO umbrella. And now they're kind of like the end of the wrestling territory. WWE was the last wrestling territory that was it. So WWE is now corporate, under a corporate umbrella, and now Vince McMahon is the executive chairman of TKO. He has a say with WWE and UFC. That's crazy. UFC, Ultimate Fighter. Vince McMahon never liked the UFC. Now he has a say in a complete interest in UFC. So that's kind of making Dana White going crazy. But hey, who knows? Wow, it's been an amazing year in wrestling. We don't know what's in store for 2024. 2024 is going to be a phenomenal year like it was in 2023. Wrestling has leaped abound above and beyond. Like we said, we've seen superstars return. We've seen organizations been brought. We've seen a couple of mistakes. Would this be the continue on trend for 2024? Only time will tell. Well, thank you for watching this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show Special, the Top 10 Countdown, the year-end special. I've been your host, Kendrick Dixon, so long, and thank you for watching the Pro Wrestling Show. We'll see you next time, next year, for the Pro Wrestling Show.